Did you just get up?
Uh, yeah, I got up around 10 so, and there was a little shady. I had to wait until 2 o'clock to set things up. Yeah.
So I've been working on your assignment. I don't know if you remember your assignment.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember.
Yeah, it was good. It's a good portal. Thinking about silence, connecting, listening to the silence underneath. Uh, it's boundaryless silence. You know, it's a nice. Of course, everything is a metaphor, but it's a nice visual for tapping in.
Yeah.
I combine it with your other assignment to look inside. So, and it's sort of you connect to the silence and look inside, sort of feel boundaryless, and then it's just the looking energy, life, love remains there. So that's happened several times in the last week.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's always there. It's always there. Just a matter of resting in it or remaining as it, because there's only it. There is nobody even to rest on it. There's nobody even to look for it, because it's the only thing there is. It is here already. It can never be found, can never be lost. That which can never be found can never really be lost. And that which seems to be looking for it is already an appearance in it. So there's never really anything that can look for it because it's already everything. There is no separation. But at times that may seem to appear here. There may seem to be a suggestion that's okay. Uh, stop imagining or remain in silence. Notice silence. But it is just silence all the way. There's never really anything that is being spoken to. There's never really anyone that is being helped, receiving help. It's just what seems to appear in this boundless silence that is undisturbed. It can never really be disturbed because there is nothing outside of it to disturb it. It's already everything. It's all encompassing. Somebody trying to find it can only be a dream appearing in it. There's never really a separate somebody who can find it, who can understand it, who can possess it. So going to the left, going to the right, going up, going down, it doesn't really matter because all is this already. So if all there is this, it can only be it that seems to talk, that may seem to talk, ask questions, analyze, look, search, and even feel joy. So there's never really any separate somebody who can do all those things. It's just totality appearing as that. So it can only be this totality recognizing that it has never been separate from itself. It has always been itself. And there was never really any separate, real separate individual who was actually looking for it. It was just it appearing as separate, looking for itself. So there's never really anything that can be found because there's no separation. There's only everything. Everything can't be understood. Everything can't be found because it's everything. Who can find everything? Who's outside of everything to know everything?
Yeah.
So it is beautiful. Beyond even the word beautiful. In a, I mean, uh, it is wordless. No word can actually describe what this is. There can be a resonance happening, but that resonance can happen energetically. That which seems to resonate, or the resonance itself, it can never be for somebody. It's just this resonating with itself because it's the only thing there is. There's nothing outside of it. So it doesn't really matter when whether there is talking happening or there's just silence, because this is already wordless. This is boundless energy. It is everywhere present. It has no boundaries. There are no borders here. This doesn't know uh, separate countries. This doesn't know borders. This doesn't know distance. It doesn't know separation. is there to be away from it. There's nobody here to be on the journey. There's nobody here to do anything. There's just this.
You seem so solemn tonight.
Sorry?
You seem so solemn. You know that word, solemn?
No.
Uh, Marked by invocation of a religious. No, that's not the right word. Marked by a grave sedateness and earnest sobriety. Serious. You're very serious tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what seems to be happening.
I get so tired at the end of the day, sometimes my head aches. Not like a headache, but like my head like feels like swollen from thinking so hard. I think
Yeah.
hard every day. And magic happens at work. we do little we do magic and then we walk away. Sometimes I have enough energy for Nkosi, and sometimes it's kind of tough. Tonight it's kind of tough. I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. I understand. Especially if the day has been busy, there's been so much activity, deciding this and that, coming up with solutions. Yeah, you may feel uh, very heavy at times because of what seems to happen that way.
I feel that sometimes though, there's like it's like a karmic reward from very, very hard work, you know. If you like work really, really hard, and then somehow when you're done from work, there's this like freedom, expansive feeling in the time afterwards, sometimes where you feel almost like you're floating or something. You finally get a chance to relax.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, when we use our strength to do whatever we do, you know, it may seem to be really heavy what we are doing. It seems to be very hard. But when we allow this uh, totality to do everything on behalf of us, then it will seem very light. Allowing it in a sense that just relaxing, allowing all solutions to come up on their own, resting in this, and then everything will seem, very light, and they can be even uh, They can even come up the solutions that you weren't even thinking about, that you never thought they would come up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for example, when you you you're trying to lift uh, a heavy stone by your own strength, they will seem to be it's very hard to lift it up. Just making an example. But when you just hold it and allow this boundless energy to do this on behalf of you, then it will seem very like just like a paper, you know, because there is no strength that is being focused or being used, or energy that is being used that's coming from the body. It's just allowing this to do it. So I don't know if if it's the perfect example.
Well, I don't know. Have you ever lifted weights? I don't know. Do you guys lift weights in South Africa?
Yeah, they do. I've also done it. Yeah, I've also done it
It's very
before.
interesting. It's a very interesting, very direct relationship with will, you know,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and effort. There's no greater, like, it's just like you, body, the weight, and there's such a direct relationship between your attitude and your thoughts and your ability to lift weights. I mean, I was never a big weightlifter or anything. I lifted weights with Mitchell when he was in high school and a little bit to stay in shape. But um, yeah, it's amazing, like the shift that you can have in lifting weights. Just sort of let it happen. Just let it happen. There's like, oh, it's really, this is and it's just like, great, or it's just gonna go. And somehow, like it's the same muscles, right? And obviously something different is happening in the muscles based on your mind and your attitude and the whole thing. Your your
yeah,
attitude affects your body's ability to, I don't know, whatever, process the oxygen or whatever, or
yeah,
push through some. But when you're lifting weights, there's nothing else, right? It's so easy to see that connection between your mind, body, the attitude, and the one. Whereas the world is very complicated, but works on the exact same principle.
yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, it's like when you're about to lift weights, when there's thinking that happens that says it, it's gonna be very heavy. You know, that attitude towards it will make it to be very heavy. But when you go there, just it's gonna be easy, man. You know, it's gonna be easy as well because you're not gonna use your energy. You're just gonna allow it, just allowing things to be as they are. Not trying to. It's the same as when we have to come up with solution. When you just try, you know. But when you're not trying, good things seem to be coming up. Beautiful solutions, ideas. Mm.
I like to work with wood. I've got a little workshop and I make shelves and stuff. I've told you this, right?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And my mind sometimes it finds it very, very satisfying to just ruminate on the different options for doing things. Because there's problem after problem, right? Well, how am I going to do this? I'm gonna have to arrange it some way that I can get the drill in here, or it has to be even or level, or I don't have the right equipment, so I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to do it. So my mind will just take these problems and it just loves when I'm going to sleep. It just loves it the way that my mind works. And it's like not even my deliberate mind, right? It's just like I catch it. My mind is just like, yes, it's like chess for me. I don't know if you play chess, but it just loves to just it
So somehow it loves the problem solving.
loves a geographic problem. It loves a geometrical problem, right? It loves it loves spatial problems. It's that's the forte here. So just keeps on going and doing that, even when I'm not paying much attention here.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
What about the smell of the wood when you're cutting the wood?
Oh, I love everything about the wood. Texture, the cells, the um stain, it's the feel of it, sanding it, it's an amazing substance. Wood is an amazing substance. It's so strong, you know.
Yeah.
And I like to work with oak. It's cheap, just so strong. You know, the different
Yeah.
textures in it that'll go. You just have multiple textures with the rings of the trees, and then the veins, and then striations, and then it's just amazing. You fit it all together and put some stain on it, just accentuates that. It's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I built this coffee table recently, and I didn't have any I never get any plans for anything, right? I don't want anybody else to tell me what the measurements are because my mind likes to work on that. So it ended up being just a very, very standard coffee table, but it's extremely heavy. Like the top of it is like this thick and solid wood, right? And I made sure to kind of
Yeah.
make it so that it's accentuated that element of it. And you can put your feet on it and have some plates on it and the water. Someone can bump into it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't move because it's just so heavy. you know, and you can't buy a coffee table like that, right? You can't buy a coffee table that's that substantial. If you get a new coffee table, you know, it might look like that, but underneath it's just, wood laminate and a bunch of, sawdust compressed together. It's all this cheap kind of stuff. So it's really satisfying to make these things. Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know
Yeah,
what I'm doing.
okay, you can go ahead. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing, right? I just started, anything I learned from YouTube or trial and error, and there's problems and I screw up and I gotta start over and throw something away, or
Yeah.
nice.
Wow. It's very beautiful. Beautiful. You know, when things are enjoyed, you know, it's very nice. even though it can be seen here that the one who is enjoying anything is everything already.
Yeah.
So it's not wrong, it's not right, it's just what's happening.
Well, you didn't tell me what you
It's-
enjoy. We're getting to that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, really, what I enjoy is just this, as we are talking,
Yeah.
and at times here there might be a deepening happening. At times, like little meditation that may seem to happen. That is enjoyed too. Um, I enjoy doing editing videos of our sessions. Um, I enjoy as well talking to any individual who needs help doing energy work, healing. That is enjoyed too. Any challenge when it comes to healing, any somebody's feeling pain or any intense sickness. It is enjoyed here when there seems to be energy work that is being done for the particular person. So this somehow enjoys helping people in a way. Apparently, yeah.
There was a woman last week, well, I guess maybe a couple weeks ago, that just appeared one day. Um, and she was sitting outside of our office. And we had several days where it was really hot, right? So whatever it is in Celsius, 35 or whatever, just really hot and very steamy. North Carolina is very wet. And she was sitting in this little chair thing. Um, as I said, apparently homeless, kind of dirty, um, bags of her belongings, with like serious like covers and like a sweatshirt on, pulled over her head. Um, there she was. And I asked her a couple times if she needed anything. You need food or money? No, I don't need anything. And then Melissa asked her a couple times, and then finally she said, "Yeah, okay." And then Melissa gave her some food or something. And then she was gone.
What happened?
She was gone. That's it, right? She left.
Oh,
But this town has, about 2 or 3 blocks of urban area where people would stand or sit, right? And it's a long distance to any other place. You know, she could go somewhere else and sleep, but you know, there's not another place to go and sit around lots of people that she could panhandle at or whatever. Um, so what happened to her? It's like, did somebody like reclaim her? Did a policeman come and just drop her in another town? Did she die? What happened? It's like a big
Yeah,
mystery. And Melissa was like, "Oh, it's almost like a test, an angelic test that's been sent. If you pass the
that's what
test,
I
you
was
level up."
thinking. I thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was an angelic being of some sorts, you know, just
I,
visiting.
I told her that I thought it was an assassin from the CIA. She didn't think that was true. I said it's more likely it was an assassin from the CIA than it was an angel.
Yeah, they can disguise like that too.
But she was very nice and she was very happy, even though she was sitting in, you know, and I mean, how weird is that, right? To be sitting where it's extremely hot with extremely warm clothes on, you know. I mean, maybe she was protecting her skin from the sun, I guess, a little bit. You might think a light
Yeah.
shirt, but she was wearing like sweatshirt. She just must have been so sweaty and everything.
But how did she feel around her?
How did she feel?
Yeah, around her when she was around her.
Well, Melissa was filled with uh care, right? She cared about this person and really wanted to help. As I said, the person was extremely pleasant. And she talked to me about this person maybe 5 or 6 times, right? Even though she was just outside our office for a week. Uh, did she feel a presence of a special being uh, or love? I don't know. I didn't ask her. I guess I should have asked her. Yeah.
Mm.
But for me,
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
sometimes.
go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. It's okay.
For me, was the woman was, I walked by, and this is without Melissa the first time. I was like, okay, this is weird. You need anything? And she was like, kind of emphatic, no, I'm fine. It's like, okay, that's it. Done here. I don't need to do anything else. This woman says she's fine. She seemed very, maybe she wasn't my test. Maybe she was Melissa's angel, not my angel.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were gonna say?
Yeah, I don't know. You do sometimes meet up with such people, Some people will suddenly come to you with a certain message and say, you should do this and that for your life, and then they'll go away. When you turn around, they're gone. So,
Yeah.
um, angelic beings, they do visit in that way. They will disguise as a beggar in the streets that you have never seen before. And when you just come to that person, you can feel the presence, you can feel so much love around you or her. You know,
Yeah.
that's a sign that they are not as they appear to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was one guy. I told you I used to hand out granola to the homeless people on my way to the office. I'd ride on the beach, and I would get
Yeah, I
I'd
remember.
get 5 or 6 bags of granola and hand them out. And then there was one guy who was just it was really interesting, you know. You just really felt like it just seemed like he was at peace, you know. And he was either like a really light skinned black guy or a really, really burnt white guy. You couldn't really tell because he's just this really dark, aged. And he
Yeah,
had like, you know, massive amounts of like dreadlocked hair um and he would smoke constantly. And the place where he was, he would just be littered with cigarette butts. And he would every time I rode by, you know, for a few months, he would be there just smoking cigarettes in the same location. Like he had never left that location. And whenever I asked him, you know, you need some granola or you need some money or anything, he'd be like, "Oh, I got everything you need." It's like, oh yeah, well then why are you living on the streets? I mean, I didn't say that, but that's what I thought, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's such fun interacting with those people. There was one woman that lived on the streets she was a bearded lady, you know. She was a woman, but she had a little beard that came off the bottom of her chin that was really long. And she wore a cowboy hat. It's missing teeth. Um, and she would sing. She was a folk singer. She would sing for money, you know, and beg and uh people give her money and um she was just really nice and really very friendly. She called me the granola man whenever I walked by.
Mm.
And once we were with Melissa eating somewhere, so we had her, you know, out on the, you know, sometimes restaurants have seating on the streets. And so she walked by, and so we had her come and sit with us. And she was telling us about how she just hated sleeping inside, you know, hated sleeping inside. And whenever, like, you know, she got into a situation where someone would bring her inside because for social work or whatever, or maybe the government, um, she just hated it. That everything would go wrong. Like, not only because, like, you know, sometimes you get housed with people that are really, you know, addicted to drugs or whatever, but even when she was like in her own apartment, she didn't like sharing walls with neighbors because it was too loud, you know. She was really it's just like to sleep on the beach, you know, and she's
Mm.
perfectly happy doing that. And she had a really great energy about her, always smiling. Never saw her not smiling, you know.
Mm.
It's really neat person.
Yeah, for some people, apparently, everywhere they are is home. They really enjoy sitting on their own, the space. They just enjoy, you know. Some may seem like beggars, but they're not really beggars. They're just mm, enjoying. When you try to help them, to them, you are disturbing, just disturbing them because, they feel they may tend to feel so much peace, so much love, enjoying that moment, being there by themselves.
That's how Jesus lived.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
Jesus lived.
exactly. Mm. It doesn't matter where they are, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. The empty space is not really empty, it's full.
Yeah.
It's full. There's something, nothing here that is always here. We are never alone in that sense. We're never alone because there's just this energy that is always around you and is also you. And when it is noticed that it's always here, then everywhere is home for you. Everywhere is home. Whether you are in the desert, whether there is no food to eat, whether there is no water to drink, it doesn't even matter. That may seem to come, that may seem to come somehow, or the universe may seem to provide somehow. But when there's that recognition that there's only energy, even the body that's which seems to be the body is already not there. It's just energy all the way. It doesn't matter what may seem to happen. Doesn't matter. Because such thoughts that seem to appear to say, I'm the body, I am this body. That's just a thought. I am this body, I'm here as this body. That's just a thought. No, all conversations that are seen going on around maybe your town where you are. Many people refer to themselves as their bodies. So I'm walking on the streets, I'm going there, doing that. But that's not to say that is wrong or right. It's just what happens. But when when there's a recognition that there's just energy everywhere, it's boundless, then everything is beautiful. Everything's glowing. Even the spank of dust is beautiful. The trees, animals, everything is shining. And everything seems to be new. When what seems to be labels is no longer there or is no longer imagined. When things are seen as they are. When that computer is seen as it is the labeling, without labeling it as a computer, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's already the case. It's already what's happening.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to have very intense sensations that inanimate objects were uh, imbued with consciousness, you know, and not just stuffed animals or whatever, but like, tables, trees, rocks. Oh my God, I loved rocks. Just pick up little rocks. It felt like I could feel the personality of each rock, you know. And the more I live, the more I'm convinced that that's actually right, you know, that beingness is actually everywhere and that creativity is actually everywhere. And that the center of figuring out animate objects in us is the incorrect part. Maybe we're projecting. Maybe we project our own consciousness onto other things. I don't know. or project the one consciousness on things. I don't know how it works, but yeah, definitely when I'm out there in the trees, those trees definitely have their own spirits.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything is seen as beautiful because it is seen as it is. In fact, there are no things. It's just this energy appearing, appearing as a bird, appearing as a tree, appearing as stones, the sea, the sky, clouds, as everything, appearing as even somebody who's talking. So, you know, when it sees itself, when it recognizes that it is just the way it is, and it's the only thing that is, then everything is beautiful because everything is an expression of this boundless energy. Is not separate from this. Separation can only appear in the story when there seems to be a story that is going on. And when it is looked for, it's never really there. There is no story. I would say the story is imagined. There's never really any story here. There's no yesterday, there's no last week, there's no tomorrow. There's just what seems to be happening. There's just this. This has no tomorrow. This has no future. You cannot even say it's present moment. Present moment will reply, will seem as if you're implying that there is a future and there's a past. There's just this, which an imaginary future and imaginary past may seem to appear in this. So this doesn't go anywhere. It's always here. It can never be understood because it's the only thing there is. There's nothing outside of it already. If there seems to be somebody who's trying to understand it, it can only be it. That is not wrong or right. It's just what seems to happen. Understanding it or no understanding, it doesn't matter. Getting it or not getting it, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters to this because everything is already this boundless energy, all inclusive, all encompassing, senseless. It's alive, it's aliveness. There's no death here. And there's no birth. There's no one who's even breathing. this that it doesn't matter to this whether there is breathing or no breathing. This is deathless. This doesn't breathe. Collapsing of the body. When the body collapses, it doesn't really matter to this. Nothing happens to this. And this doesn't see the other. It sees itself. There's nothing. And it doesn't regard itself as special. It doesn't mind what appears in it. Because what appears in it is also it. There's never really any movement here, except as a thought.
Went to the Krishna Temple last week on Thursday. There's a Krishna Temple in town. There's a lot of Indian people in this larger area because of there's some statistical there's just some largely hard to explain, but yeah, it was really amazing. So it's about 2 or 3 miles from our house, and they've got several buildings on the complex. One building is just chanting and music, and then they had a plays that they had all the kids put on about the life of Krishna, and they had food, and they were feeding everybody, and there were several hundred people that showed up for Krishna's birthday. So Melissa and I went with a friend that she had made in town, and as something clicked for me, you know, about sort of the Krishnas and Christians, and that is devotion. You know, that the Krishna religion is all about devotion to Krishna, and singing and chanting so much. And that's what Christianity is about, right? That's what my mother is about. Completely devotion to Christ and prayer, um, and a sacrificing of the person to this idea she has of Christ. And it feels like there's a magic path there. It's like it's the devotion itself brings you to the realization of lessening the ego and opening up the portal that you're that what you're being devoted to is everything and everywhere, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. Fortunately, I'm not a Krishna. It's like speaking Spanish. I can do it, but I'm not very good.
Yeah, as well. I remember when um, Nkosi used to attend the church, you know, I always had that feeling, oh, everything was nice. You know, there's so much love there, beautiful energy, you know, being with people, praying for people, counseling, you know, it was beautiful, and that was being done. But I always had that thinking that what was going on. That so there must be something more than this.
Right.
Here it came up that way. That there must be something.
Yeah.
I even left the church because I was following uh, that desire I had to see more, to know more. As beautiful as it was, being there, serving people, counseling, but there was always that desire, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
And the last few times I've gone to church with my dad or whatever, it's like, oh my God, this is boring. It's just boring. And, I mean, I dedicate my life to spiritual stuff. If they can't do a spiritual thing that's interesting to me, how can they get these thousands of people to millions of followers? I don't know. It's it's a it's an institution of man, you know. Truth gets
Yeah.
lost. The truth gets lost. But we never know. And Nkosi doesn't know. And Nkosi might live it, but Nkosi doesn't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. So one bullshit explanation is kind of better, as good as the rest. As you said, God doesn't mind, right? God doesn't
It
mind.
doesn't mind.
Doesn't mind. But the
Yeah.
devotion is a key. There's a key in the devotion. You know, that's what became clear to me, that none of the words or gods or mouth chants or Hail Marys or ideas about God matter. It's the actual devotion, the love,
Mm.
you know, sacrificing of your own imaginary self in that process. That's a portal. It's a serious portal. And they come back from that, they might co-opt it into all sorts of explanation as to how other people are bad and they're good or whatever, and that's a drag. But the devotion is really is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Felt like I needed more of it in my life. And I'm devoted to those trees. I'm devoted to those trees.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
And now
devoted
when
to
there is a oh sorry about that. When there's a strong belief that you are separate and you are this person, you are a human being. When you are maybe sitting there in the church and they say you need to commit to God, you need to believe in God, then you may seem to be affected. But when you are you're outside of that personhood idea or imagination of being separate self, it doesn't really matter what they say because they are not even talking to you.
yeah,
It is sin. It's just you don't mind.
yeah,
You don't mind whatever is being said by a human being because
yeah,
it's just outside of that. There's nothing.
yeah,
Even though as well it can be seen as that it's still just this energy, what you are. imagining itself to be a certain somebody uh, talking to others. Yeah,
Yeah, I was jealous of the Krishnas.
they can affect you. You can
I'm
never be
sorry,
hurt.
can you repeat that,
Yeah.
Nkosi? You went out.
Oh, I was saying, nothing can affect you. Nothing can affect you at all.
Yeah.
You can never be hurt by anything, by any uh, thing that is being spoken. But when there's that imaginary or an idea of being a person is there, then it may seem to be affected by what is being said to about the person. Because there's just emptiness. There's just this boundless energy that is everywhere present. You have no location. You have no center. So if if any if there's anybody who's talking to you, when there's a recognition that there is no separate self, you can see, it can be witnessed or noticed that it's actually you who's talking.
Yeah.
It's not the other. It's just you as well who's talking, and it's also you who's also listening. So it's just everything. There isn't any separation there.
It's the true meaning of compassion. You know,
Sorry, come again?
that's the true meaning of compassion, of loving your neighbor as yourself. That's what that means.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you don't mind.
yes. It's
And it can't.
okay when somebody thinks you are separate. When sees you as separate, he may talk to you, say, "Oh, no, you are like this and that," you know. But it's not personal. It's not personal.
Is that somebody in your house? Is that your aunt?
Yeah. Yeah,
She,
she's getting ready.
uh, I thought it sounded like she said, "Come on."
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nkosi.
So
Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say for this week,
Mhm.
uh, don't be something, just be nothing. And recognize that you're already that. You've never been in anything. You've never been something. You've always been nothing. The seeing in those eyes is already nothing. Even when it seems to be local, but it's already nothing. The seeing as itself as it is. So I would say be just be only those formless eyes for this week.
Thank you. I will do it. Appreciate it. Okay. I'll talk to you next week. Say hi to your auntie for me.
Okay, I'll do just that.
Okay. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Okay, you're welcome.